Thank you guys for tuning in. We got our hosts Facey and Sydney from Migrant Money Australia.
We're trying to build this podcast for every first, second, and third generation immigrant in Australia.
And the goal is to help any immigrants get started investing and building wealth in a new country. In this case, Australia.
That's it. And long term, we want to make people financially confident and teach the next generation about money.
And let's get started. We're going to do a bit of an introduction. So who are you, Facey?
Yep. So as you said, my name is Faizi. I'm 24 years old. I came to Australia in 2007, right before the GFC. I was originally born in Pakistan, in Karachi specifically, and I speak Urdu. What about you?
Name's Sydney. Nice to meet you all. I am 29 years old. I've arrived in Australia in 2008 with my parents, and I was born and grew up in Nicaragua, so I speak Spanish.
Lovely. I like the way that you say Nicaragua. It's nice.
That's funny because that's a bit of a, what's it called, context switching.
Yeah,
I think probably a bit of a side topic, but it's funny enough. When you speak another language, especially if English is your second language, your mother tongue, if you want to call it,
yeah,
you use that a lot for a bit of context switching.
So you mean like switching it up in the middle of conversation?
Yeah, because then what I mean by that is if I see a word that I cannot pronounce in English, because then you pick up whatever you can, right? That means that I'll read that in Spanish. And then when I know that word is actual Spanish, then the accent changes from, let's say, English to Spanish.
Yeah. I like that. I think I do the same thing in certain contexts, yeah. But it's good, you know.
No, but it's
pronouncing
funny
it the way that it is.
it's funny because that's when you get some cases, especially when friends that speak Spanish, like we end up speaking Spanglish.
Yep. Yes.
Which is just funny because then for whatever reason you have a conversation and you speak in Spanish, suddenly you forget how to say that one word, and then all you in your brain is, I'm gonna say it in English.
Yeah.
And you get so used to it that it's like, it just happened, just let it go. You don't have to bring it up.
Yeah, just run with it. I think we have something similar. It's a mix of Hindi and English. We call it Hinglish, where you mix and match Hindi words and English words, and if you're speaking with someone who speaks both languages, it just works really well. It's the funniest thing. Like other people don't really understand it, but it just flows really well, and you just go with it. But yeah.
I reckon,
fun times.
Right now we should be talking about struggles of coming to Australia. I don't know if we want to sidestep into that right now. Because then, did you ever have any issues like doing that bit of context switching?
Well, to be honest, not really. Like I feel like if you're with the right people and if they understand both languages, it just works really well. Like people just get it. Of course, they might joke around that, you're mixing and matching, but I think it works fine. I think it's maybe a bit of a struggle for people that don't speak either or language, where they're kind of listening to you and like 1 minute you'll be speaking English, then you'll switch to Hindi or Urdu and they're like, what the hell just happened? But yeah, look, I think it's such a superpower in a way to speak like both languages. I feel like you're automatically like so much more, better in terms of your communication. But yeah, what about you?
Because for me, I reckon, I don't know if I will call it a struggle, because let's say I'm first gen. So pretty much I arrived here with my parents.
Yeah.
And then that means I'm the first generation in my family that came to Australia, that sort of stuff. Yeah. And then we came here and then made a life. But then I've met friends that are second generation. So they were born here. So they grew up, went to school in English, then spoke their mother tongue at home, that sort of stuff.
Pretty much the opposite of you.
Yeah, but then you have some friends that pretty much, let's say, you can call them third generation, that they grew up in the 90s. So they speak English because whatever, they already knew it. The kids, they barely know Spanish, let's say. But it's funny because they do that little bit of Spanglish, you can call it, because at home, the parents still speak Spanish.
That's right, yeah.
Mixed with English. But then because the kids never grew up in an environment that spoke Spanish 100%, they understand words and then they use them to talk with friends and that sort of stuff, especially between the family, but they don't speak, let's say, Spanish fluently.
That's right, yeah. And I feel like the same thing is happening in my family as well. Like my little sister, she was born here. At home, we speak full-time Urdu. We don't speak English at all, unless I'm speaking with my sister. So my little sister understands Urdu, but she can't really speak it, and she's actually embarrassed to speak it. It's very weird. But
I reckon that is a struggle, especially in an immigrant family.
100%, yeah. Because when she goes to school and stuff, everybody's speaking English, so there's no incentive for her to even try to learn this language. So I feel like with with second, third, and fourth generations, as you come to Australia and you like assimilate or whatever, the actual mother tongue gets lost in a way. Like with generations, eventually, like maybe if you're like third or fourth generation down, everybody will be speaking English, and the Spanish that you had and your parents have probably will get faded away. It's kind of sad in a way. Pretty sad.
I know what you mean. It's sad, but then it happens. Especially, I reckon, if there's no connection to the country.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I guess if you're just gonna live here and you're not really going back too much, and everybody has immigrated here, or your grandparents are here, your parents are here, what's the incentive to go back and experience that life? Maybe you can go there for holidays, but probably not to stay.
I think that's the main thing. It's just holidays. That's the way people do that a lot. But then it's handy because you speak the language there, so then you can get away with buying stuff special on a holiday.
Yeah, they weren't
the
charging
moment, the moment they pick up that you speak English, is like, I'm gonna charge him American dollars now, or Australian dollars, or whatever they think that you're from.
Yeah, 100%. It's so funny. This happens everywhere. Like same in my country, yours. The locals will find any way to exploit a.
Suddenly, the taxi ride goes from $1 to 10.
Yep, the souvenirs go from $10 to 50, and that's how it works.
Yeah, but it happens. It's something that occurs for everyone, I reckon.
But of course, I guess the topic of this podcast was to talk about helping family, and of course, helping family is quite a big part of being an immigrant, especially if you've moved to Australia from a developing country. So, what are some of the ways that you've been able to help your family? And let's dive into it.
So, helping family, and let me probably mix it a little bit, because then I've been investing in dividend-paying stocks since 2015. Yes,
wow,
so it's been a couple of years now, and then pretty much whatever I could. Like I remember I started investing $500. This was before stake was a thing.
Right.
And now I'm thinking of actually moving to that. That's just so I was using Comsec, whatever, paying $20 per trade, that sort of stuff. Right now it's like 10, but it's still not free.
Absolute rip-off.
That's the reason why I'm bringing up stake, because it's free. And then whatever I started investing, started with like $500 a month that I was able to put away. Then got a pay rise that increased to like $750. Then slowly, pretty much that's what I've been doing. Slowly, as much as I could, is just invest in extra bit in piece. And then the main thing for there was to help family. So the goal back then was literally to pay bills. Like I remember 2015, the end of the year, I just made $200 in dividends.
Yeah, and that would have been such a huge achievement. Like
it was huge for me, because then
it's
it's like, okay, this is actually working out. I'm actually making money out of this. But then if you look at my portfolio, I was sitting at a loss. I didn't sell. I was just doing that just for the dividends. And then the goal there was those $200. Honestly, I ended up paying like a gas bill.
Yeah, but it was
like,
a start. And
I was proud of it, because it's like it took me a year just to pay one gas bill.
Yeah,
it's sad as well, because it took you 1 year just to pay one bill. You should have just done it in your job, which I did. That's fine. But the point pretty much of me getting dividends was to help pretty much my mom and dad pay bills. And then it started slowly, because then $200 in 2015, that's for the whole year. Then pretty much in 2016, because that's what I was saying, for the whole year, it's like $500 on dividend paying stocks. And then what I didn't understand back then, but I understood that on the second year, was that whatever you invested on the previous year, it just stacks up. Because let's say you missed a payment, like a dividend payment, you're going to get it now and then the following year in the next quarter, anything that they decide to pay out, plus whatever you invest in on that year.
That's
on top of that. So pretty much the $200 that I made in 2015, that became $800 in 2016.
800? That's a massive increase, mate.
Yes.
That's
I know.
good. Heaps good, yeah.
So pretty much that happened. And then 2016, I was happy because $800, I literally paid like all the bills for the gas bill.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So that helped, because that means mom and dad, whatever, we had some spare cash to buy better food. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I still remember that, because I remember mom found, this is a shop in Fairfield, that they sell Chilean food. So mom's from Chile.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
And then, unfortunately, because of the price difference, they charge you what they charge you here. So whatever you buy something from, let's say back home, it's like $2 in here. They're gonna they rip
like
off
$5, $6,
$10, whatever.
10.
And that's what they do, because they have to import it, do a lot of things. But they're running a business, so you can't complain much. And then the spare cash that mom had, she started buying things that we used to eat all the time. That's pretty much back home, and we did that, so we were happy. Then after that, it just kept going and going, because then I remember I got a small pay rise in 2016. So 2017, I was able to put that in there. And then the dividends that I got that year, that was 1,500. So it
So it's
doubled
really,
again.
it's really going up. And now
Yeah.
you're into the thousands, yeah.
Pretty much, that was awesome for me, because like, whoa, okay, I can pay the gas bill plus the phone bill now. So it's just been stacking up like that. So I'm not complaining at all. Yeah. So right now, like last year, to be honest, I got to in a position of probably making like $6,000 a year just on dividends.
It's about $500 a month. And
Yeah,
that
I was
would
gonna say
cover,
that's $500 a month, and then that's literally paying my parents like electricity, gas, and then my own too.
That's so good.
So
yeah.
pretty much whatever. Let's say there's a couple $100 here and there that I need to out of pocket that I need to pay, but it's pretty much that was the goal. Help out the family to at least pay some bills.
Yeah, it's very, very impressive. And that's the thing, right? Like once you get the ball rolling, it just slowly compounds over time, provided that you keep on adding to it and you just keep reinvesting it. Do you do dividend reinvestment plans or on the stocks that you have?
No, I don't do the DRP, but that's because I prefer having the money in my pocket, because I'm using it to pay bills.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. You obviously, you want the money in cash. Yeah.
Like the point of a DRP, the dividend reinvestment plan, is that you fill out the paperwork, you apply whenever you buy shares in a company that pays dividends. And that means that instead of them giving you a payout, let's say, I don't know, that year they're going to give you $50 for the whole year. It's not much, but then instead of you getting the $50, they give you a share. So let's say if the shares are valued at $25, that means that you get 2 shares out of the $50 that you get.
Yep, and then that's where the compounding effect comes in, because next year or the next dividend period, you'll get dividends from those 2 shares as well. And it could be do you think it's a good strategy to build it up, or do you? I guess it's different for different people.
It's personal. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
Because for me, I'm using the dividends to pay cash, and that's it. That's why I want to have it. But then, like that long-term perspective, you're better off doing that than DRP, to be honest.
Because if someone doesn't really need the cash, it's probably not financial advice, but it could be worth looking at just doing the DRP, because that'll add up to your units will increase, and of course dividend payments.
That's
will
where you
increase.
need to talk to either a financial advisor or your accountant to find out if you can actually do it, if it's for you.
Please do that. Don't listen to us two people sitting in a room talking about DRP.
And then talking about helping family, was there any other ways that you helped them out?
Yeah, so for me, like growing up, I always saw, like when we came to Australia, my dad would always set aside money and send, money back home to his parents every single month. And
the remittance.
The remittance, yeah, the typical immigrant thing where you come to a foreign country, then you send money overseas. So, and he was pretty like diligent with that. He would send money every single month without fail. He would, pay all the bills, pay the rent. And that was the first experience for me, seeing him help his parents. So when I was growing up, I knew that once I get to a position where I'm making money, I need to be able to do the same thing and, help my parents out and sort of continue the cycle, because they made a huge decision to, come here. So basically what happened was I finished HSC, I was done with exams, and I basically had like a 4-month break. So I was going to be on break for about 4 months until uni started, first year of uni. And I was basically taking it easy, playing a lot of games and just, relaxing. And then my dad was like, look, it's been about a month now. You need to start applying for jobs. You need to, help the family out. So that's basically what I did. So try to get a job ASAP to, help out with the bills. And yeah, it was a bit unexpected because I was looking to get a job hopefully during uni, not before. I wanted to take a bit of a chill.
So were you able to find a job at the time?
Look, it took a while. I think I went through probably 20 to 30 different applications. So I was applying basically everywhere. Woolworths, Big W, a lot of fast food places, Hungry Jack's, McDonald's, a lot of rejections. But you know what? You just get better at it. Like an email is an email.
I remember I applied. This was back when finishing high school too, and a job at Macca's. I got rejected.
Yep, same, yeah. That's the thing. Even they reject you. But at the end, though, I did end up getting a job at McDonald's, funnily enough. And my first shift was, I think, a couple of weeks before Christmas. So started on that, earned a bit of money during the summer before my actual job, my actual university started. So had some money there, which I was able to help, with helping out with groceries and whatnot. And then I feel like usually in immigrant families, the expectation is inherently there to help a family out. I feel like in like Western culture, the expectation is not always there. I feel like it's a lot more about the individual in a sense. Like when you grow up, there is no expectation to sort of like help your parents. It's all about, what you can do. Do you feel like that? I feel like it's
I know what you mean, but then I don't know. I think it depends a lot on the family unit, like how close they are to each other, sort of stuff. And then if you're able to help, that's the other thing. It's a hit or miss. It's an expectation, something that you should do because it's your family, and then something that you do if you can.
Yeah, I guess so. I think maybe I'm just like reading too much into social media stuff, hey, but like I feel like people generally have this attitude here that once they grow up, they owe nothing to their parents, and like it's all about me, all about them, and that sort of attitude. And I feel like that's in immigrant communities, you barely see that, right? In immigrant communities, it's about helping the family. It's all about the community,
like being selfish, pretty much.
Yeah, I think for us, it's all about the communal aspect of it. Whereas in here, it's all about what can you do. It's very individualistic. But yeah, obviously it's a huge generalization. But I feel like that's been the case when I see it generally.
Well, anyone listen to this podcast, if you had any feedback, and just spam us.
Yeah, let us know what your experience has been, because that's what I've seen. And of course, you probably have seen different things. But generally, we immigrants like to help our family and definitely make sure we're all good. I think that's the reason why, like a lot of the times, it's kind of it's a usual thing to stay with your parents even after you turn 18 and you're in your 20s, because you're helping your parents and you're in that sort of family unit. Of course, it comes with different pros and cons. It may not be the best thing for everyone, but yeah, it's different ways of living life.
And then helping is always different.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
because then I'm remembering like recently, mum for her sisters every now and then sends like $100 here and there, and that's for them to like use that money to buy medicine, like that sort of stuff. Yeah. Or the most recent one was that my dad sent out money to the family, and then it was like that's the other thing about that's massive, like prices here, but that's another topic, I reckon. He sent them like $2,000 American, so whatever, Australian exchange to American dollars, and then it was just because they were struggling to fix up the house.
Right. Yeah. And
then pretty much like if you do the patching and renovations that they did, like it would have costed here like $20,000 just to do that.
But so were they able to do it within that $2,000?
Yeah, they got everything done.
Yeah, cheap labor, mate. That's all it is. But yeah, look, it's true. It kind of reminds me of what you just said. Like the house that we have back in Pakistan, if we were to buy a similar house in Sydney, we would be paying quite a lot, insanely expensive for that property. But yeah, it's just different worlds. But yeah. So shall we head into the issues we had running this podcast, or what do you reckon?
I think we have a long list of issues that we got.
Yeah. Well, you know what, man? You start off, and I'll follow you up.
Well, what was last time? Last time I reckon in the episode 1 we talked about actually purchasing these things.
Yeah, this
it
device
was
right here.
so annoying to actually review, find out, and figure out what things are. Yeah,
it's a nice looking device though.
No, it is. I'm not complaining. Yeah. But that's good to know. I reckon a bit of a struggle that we had with the podcast trying to set this up. We're still improving, trying to get things better. Is we don't have a camera yet.
Yes.
I think that's funny that we recorded with the phones.
Yeah. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you will know that hopefully the quality is not as bad. I feel like it's probably not the best, but we're getting there, guys. We need some Patreon subscribers, and then maybe we'll get some cameras. But yeah, it's work in progress. Yeah.
We're gonna save a bit extra and then buy in a couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I think the other struggle I'm having actually is just getting more comfortable with speaking and speaking in this type of format, because normally like I don't really speak for like longer periods of time. You know what I mean? Like yeah, it's a bit of a interesting.
Just keep drinking water.
Yeah, keep drinking water. I need to keep doing that. Yeah, but it's good. I feel like if we keep doing this for multiple weeks consecutively, we'll be very good at doing this, I reckon I'll learn heaps. So
Don't worry, you'll become Gary Vee in a couple of weeks.
yeah, or maybe a secondhand Joe Rogan type of conversationalist.
No, we don't want to go there.
Yeah, no, we'll stick with Gary Vee. Gary Vee's the man. But yeah, look, I guess we'll head off to the ending remarks. So if you guys
we're
are
reaching the end of this, yeah?
Yeah, end of the podcast. So look, if anyone is listening and you are new to Australia or you have been here for a bit of time, please reach out. We're trying to build our community, and we definitely want to help each other without any sort of expectation. If any part of this podcast resonated with you, please leave us a review on Apple Podcast. It does help us quite a lot.
And lastly, follow us on Patreon, please, for exclusive content, socials, and shares with your friends and family. To be honest, we're trying to grow this community and help each other out.
Absolutely. All right, see you guys in the next one.
So yeah.